Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a 4v4 custom game played on Setons. Let's go ahead and get into our player introduction, starting with the top team, or Team 1, and the bottom team, or Team 2. But before we do, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you like this video to help me and the YouTube algorithm. Now, starting with the rear guard air player for Team 1, he is, of course, a green UEF going by the name of Corvathra Noob. And then we can move on to the rock player over here. He is the one and only purple Aeon by the name of Nexus. Then we can move on to the middle of the map with the pink Seraphim going first land, and whoa, that is a template, all right. And his name is Shade. Then up to the north, we have a maroon Siren going first land, and his name, of course, will be Izekai-chan. And then we can move on to Team 2, starting with the rearguard air player, the yellow Seraphim, not Cybern, going first land, and his name, of course, is Box. And then to the north of him, we have the rock player going first land as a green Seraphim by the name of Francis. And then to the center of the map with the front player, we have a brown UEF going first land. His name, of course, on the wall going up. And last but not least, we have a dark blue Aeon going first land, second air, and his name is Femi Speeddraw. Femi Speeddraw. He draws real quick. And with that out of the way, we can talk about the map and the players, of course. A very high-rated Setons on the map for you today, or on the cards, I should say. And it is, of course, going to be super action-packed, so make sure you have a drink and a snack at your ready, because there's gonna be some things that we're gonna wanna, savor the moment and enjoy in this. A bit of a fun kind of separation from the old. I remember that way back when, you almost never saw the play that we're seeing right now out of Izekai-chan, as these players in the middle do start moving their way to the middle of the map with that 15,000 reclaim overall, about 10,000 of it, or 13,000 of it, right here in the middle. But we didn't used to see this play. Like, if you go back and watch some older Guile casts and such, you don't generally see the beach player walking their way to the middle, but it has kind of proliferated over the past couple of years. And now we see it quite often, so it's going to be a calm disparity as long as the commander of Femi Speeddraw doesn't show up, and even if he does, he'll be very late in comparison to Izekai-chan, unless he goes for a T2 transport rush and gets it in record time. Don't believe we're going to see that. We do have transports coming out over here to the western island. We do have a drop out from Francis, and to the eastern island Nexus. No surprise getting to his island before the interceptors can stop him. He is a very good player, and speaking of which, average rating for each of these teams, 2,094% balanced game with players ranging from 2,300 all the way down to 1,700. So this is tip top of the Setons action for you all to enjoy. And here in the middle, a lot of reclaim going on. Let's go ahead and check those numbers, see who's doing better. On the wall going up has managed to get a sizable lead over on Shade, over 1,000 mass gained on Shade comparatively with this reclaim. And that's going to be really useful for him. He even has an engineer in the back helping him with his reclaim efforts, as Shade and Izekai-chan show up to try and enact some damage onto the brown UEF player. Izekai-chan going to have to contend with quite a disparity. Without that second commander there, it's going to get very difficult for him very quickly. Gonna have to run away, but he may just die before anything useful happens. And meanwhile, on this side of the map, we have a cheeky play now coming out from Fremy Speed Draw. He's going to be throwing down a transport drop seemingly behind Nexus. That could be huge. Does Nexus see it? Did he get an early radar? No, he hasn't seen it yet. Maybe he's seen the transport, but if he did, I would assume the interceptors would be locked on, so that's going to be a very spicy play. Going on the wall, going up, is still in the middle reclaiming. Shade and Owassa have just decided to move past him and continue to try and grab reclaim, especially from the wrecks that they've just killed. And on the wall going up may be in danger. If his comm gets blocked by these Thoms, we could see a very early ejection for the brown UEF player. He is running for the shores. He's trying to pull a, what was it? A Dunkirk! He's trying to get into the water before the aggressors take him down, and he's just gonna barely manage it with 2,000 HP on the commander. Not feeling too happy about this situation. Wants to probably get a little bit deeper, or maybe he's going for an overcharge. I don't know, but oh, he's gonna take a lot more damage. He's gonna go for the Salem wreck. That's gonna be some unnecessary damage down below 1,000. Not gonna feel too good. Speed and range now on the way for Shade. As over here to the northeast, we can check again on that drop. 3 factories done, a 4th on the way. Have they spotted it? No, they have not yet. And I don't think, nope, you can't even, well, I guess you technically could. You could spot it if you did this. You can see, if you want to know how that works, I'll just do this. You can see the land has been terraformed and is perfectly flat at certain areas. You can actually tell using that if the land has been messed with. But of course, that is not what happened here, as we just saw Nexus throw a interceptor over that, and that means that this entire area is now known to the Purple Aeon, and he's gonna have to contend with this. There's already a decent number of units pouring out of this factory. Fremy Speed Draw really leaning heavily on this early harassment, and it's gonna buy him a lot of time where he won't have to get into the Navy quite as early. Will allow him to tech up a little bit more, but he does invest quite a bit here, so needs to make sure he gets some value. Otherwise, he's just leaving a lot of reclaim for his opponents. Going on the wall coming up, or on the wall going up, man, that name is apparently messing with me, is managed to get out of the water, managed to get away. Shade has managed to get a gun upgrade, and he's going to be able to run back towards his base with 1,700 HP. Does have to sacrifice a lot of units and create a little reclaim field of about 16, or more like 800 there for his opponents to scoop into their coffers in order to do it, but it's worth it considering his comm does get to survive to fight yet another day. And of course, we still don't see Fremy responding to this. He's just letting going up the wall, or on the wall going up, cannot get his name right apparently. He's just letting him deal with the brunt of this damage. Back here we have some stingers now starting to come out of the base of Corvathra Noob, who is trying to deal with this incursion out from the blue Aeon player of the southern team, Fremy Speed Draw. Nexus showing up with the commander, gonna throw some shots out. I'm sure he'll get a energy storage at some point soon, just so he can throw out overcharge. It's very useful in situations like these. We also have some jesters now coming out of the base of Owassa to try and help out with the general efforts of stomping out this rebellious drop from Fremy Speed Draw, and we missed it. Over here on the wall going up, no longer gonna be cursing me with his difficult name for some reason, as I would guess that Shade and Owassa just walked him down with a commander, and now it's up to Fremy Speed Draw to 2v1, as actually, well, 3v1, he's up against Owassa, Shade, and of course, fighting Nexus all at the same time. A big, ambitious play out from him. But, of course, these 2,200 rated players, they are the players to do it. So now he's sitting on double base, which comes with more eco. In fact, highest mass in the game. No, he does not. Is he power stalling? No, he's not. He's just somewhat behind, not doing very well. Highest mass in the game is Francis, so he maybe can come over here and help. The rock player, of course, for Team 2. And now Owassa and Shade trying to push in. They've killed the commander, but that's not the important part. The important part is making sure you can kill off this this base. If you can shut down the base, you've shut down the economy, you've given all that you can to make sure that your opponent is out for the count, and it's now looking like a very, very difficult game for the Southern team, with the loss of Going on the Wall coming up. I cannot get his name right. On the Wall going up. We're going to be seeing some very, very spicy play. Does seem as though these two triads are going to be able to help expunge the two commanders of Team 1 out of this area, and we even have a Strat Bomber out really early here for Box. Sub 10 minute Strat Bomber is pretty good, and the gunships that were forced to be produced by Corvathra noob, that's now gonna show its ugly head for Team 1, as Izekai-chan, the highest rated player in the game, is under threat of just going down one more Strat Bomb, and he will be within very, very close to dying range. The Strat Bomb does move forward, does start dealing economic damage instead, does not want to waste it here trying to kill off commanders, especially whenever there's just this simple option of building Volthus out for Corvathra, or for Box. Cannot get the names right, and Izekai-chan, he's gonna run in circles, but it's not gonna help him against that direct fire gunship, and he goes down. Shade at 8,000 HP, gonna be a little bit more of a difficult nut to crack. And I would guess that Shade may get the double base, or we may see something like Nexus grabbing that for himself, as he is the highest rated player remaining on the Northern team. We'll have to see exactly how that plays out. This Strat Bomber over here up to 22 kills and getting its first rank of veterancy now, 27. Too much going on the map for my little caster brain to handle, but now we're seeing the damage come out in full force of those gunships forced out by Fremy Speeddraw, who has played a very good game, but now is under threat of just being locked out of the naval game very early. Strat Bomber still wreaking havoc onto the base of Shade. Shade here in the middle getting shot at by Strat Bombers and Volthus. He's under a lot of pressure here, and it may be a 2v4 in the coming moments, as another Strat Bomber, this time out from Fremy Speeddraw, or maybe it was gifted. It was definitely gifted. That is a Seraphim Strat Bomber, is going to help take down Shade, who's down 500 HP. Mercy comes in, and Shade goes out. You can't explain that. As now we have entered the try-hard mode. Map control, of course, is still advantage to Team 1. They've lost a lot of mass extractors, but they can rebuild those. But Nexus is already nearing 200 mass a second at the 12-minute mark, which is absolutely ridiculous, but he is fighting on 3 fronts, and he is going to struggle against this. Even these high-rated players, they will have a lot of hardship trying to manage the Herculean task placed before him. Let's see if he can do it, or let's see if he will fall by the wayside as we crest the 13-minute mark and see exactly how these players are going to manage the cards that were dealt to them. The current death count sub 20 minutes is Shade on the Wall going up, and Izekai-chan 1900, 1700, and 2300 respectively, and that is going to hurt Team 1 more than Team 2. Team 2 did, of course, lose on the Wall going up, which means that we do see Fremy Speeddraw going up against basically just Nexus now, but we also have that extra X factor of Francias still being in this game, which means it's a 2v3. Overall air control, massive advantage currently for Box, who is still just using Strat Bombers to just absolutely crush any hopes and dreams of Nexus right now. So many mexes just scattered around that have fallen. So much damage done onto this purple Aeon player. And it just doesn't seem to have an end, as the Strat Bomber evades the ASF of Corvathra noob a little bit longer, and even so, the fighter screen doing well. Another ASF comes out, takes down the strat bomber, but Nexus still hovering around that 170 mass a second point, but Francius by himself is at that, and overall mass advantage of over 100 a second for Team 2. Team 2 is just in the driver's seat, and they're not letting off the gas. They're putting pressure on to Team 1, and they will not stop. They're out for blood, and they're here to attack, but Nexus is not the type of man to go quietly into the night. He's not the type of man to just give up, and right now he is swinging in left field as he has himself a decent little flotilla of frigates, and he's really just won a naval battle against Francius, the highest eco player on the enemy team. He even has T2 in both of the pawns, and he's trying to abuse that. He's winning both pawns arguably right now, which is huge. The pawns generally decide the game of Setons. If you can control just one of them while the other one's contested, you can get a huge advantage and deal with a lot of the economic options for your opponents. He's also going to be able to abuse some Zooies thanks to his dead ally Shade, who has a decent number of land factories there in that main base. And he is going to be going to work against both Francius and Fremy Speed Draw. 15 minutes have come and gone. 3 players have died. And the mass totals are starting to even up. It was over 100 not so long ago, and it's never mind. It's about that still. As Nexus and Corvathra Noob decide to rebuild, or I guess it wasn't really a decision, they just get on top of it. And Nexus doing an assist ping, I would assume, onto these engineers that are paused for Corvathra Noob. And trying to build that T3 mechs. In fact, that may be a little bit expensive. That's only going to be his 3rd T3 mechs. Box and a drop coming out down here for Nexus. He's going to be paying back the pain and suffering that Fremy inflicted onto him with his own, and that's going to be a lot of Auroras just sitting here able to fire into this. Going to be able to pick up some mass extractors. These mass extractors already killed, but you can deny them for a little bit longer. A T2 is going to be under threat here soon as a Spectre comes out. And what patch are we on? This is the old Spectre. How old is this game? Oh man, this may be a very old game. 1 second, I want to check this. Alright, just checked it. This game was played a long ass time ago. So you see the number here? The IDs are numbered sequentially. We are currently at 1.8 million, and this was played at 1.1 million. So, this game is real old, and I didn't know it. This was submitted to me recently, so I just, I figured this happened recently. This may have already been casted, but I didn't see it casted recently. It may have been casted like a year ago, but hey, if that's how it is, that's how it is. We have old Spectres, we have old players, but we have new life breathed into this game, as apparently somebody submitted a game from very long ago to me. And you know what? That's fine, because it's a good game so far. We have some back and forth. Nexus currently making his way forward on the southern pond, and on the northern pond looks like he's going to be able to do the same, but Francius showing up with Yenzines. I am a heavy proponent for hover, but I think that this hover in particular is a little bit weaker than what you would get with the Aeon, mainly because you do not get asylums. Some people will argue you get the T3 mobile shield, which is bigger and has more health, but it's also more expensive, and you can't get quite as many of them as you can get asylums, and it's gonna be just a little bit worse than I think the hover spam of the Aeon with the Blaze Asylum, and of course the Ascendant. Can't forget those hover flaks, they're very important. But Nexus, dealing with it quite well, has the Salem, the best destroyer in my opinion for dealing with hover spam on this northern pond. Also has just in general a lot of frigates, which really helps with this, and he is just constantly producing out of these factories. Much the same going on the southern side, Aeon versus Aeon mirror matchup, which means it's a combination of mostly micro, but also focus fire, because whenever you have two destroyers of the exact same faction, especially Aeon, since the velocity of their shells are so slow, you're gonna be seeing these situations where you really prefer to have focus fire. Throwing all of your shells into just one destroyer will do you better, and these destroyers are gonna miss pretty often. But Nexus also just has more numbers, and more numbers are good because more shit counters less shit. The micro out of both these players going pretty well. A couple of destroyers on death's door, 10 HP and 700 HP respectively. Barely staying alive there. But Nexus has more destroyers to spare and is going to continue fighting. Needs to make sure that he's not overextending without the ability to reclaim here, because if he does put himself in a difficult position and leave a big reclaim field right here, it will go right into the pockets of Fremy speed draw, and that could be dangerous. As Nexus continues to try and oppress the entire map. Luckily for him, in the middle, it seems Fremy not really going to push the land angle too much, and in fact losing some of his economy to a wayward Salem that snuck past all of this hover and is now attacking some of the forward economic options out from the blue Aeon player in the south. And we now have a bit of a shape taking form of this game. Nexus is just throwing the team on his back, saying, don't worry guys, I'll carry, because he is winning every front he's fighting on. I would argue that the northern pond quite a bit more even than the southern pond. The southern pond about to lose the T2HQ. Just one more destroyer shot will do it. 80 HP, and now it's gone as Fremy speed draw is in a difficult position up against the purple Aeon. Nexus is the best player in America, and at one point people were arguing the world. And he is showing us his freedom and the ways by which he will enforce it right here and right now. The shotguns and hamburgers are coming together, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing. As currently Team 2 struggling against the might of Nexus. They have economic superiority. They have air superiority, most likely. They just are unable to keep up with the man fighting 3 wars by himself. And down comes a drop of T3 engineers for Corvathra noob here in the bottom side. Gonna start spamming up a bunch of SAMs. A very strong play. If he can manage to just build a bunch of SAMs to encapsulate this entire edge of the pond, it will really cut down the options for Box to get aggressive with air. He'll only be able to be aggressive with air on the northern side, and you can just keep your ASF over there. So I like that play. That may not be the end game he had in plans here, but if it is, just gonna call out that I mentioned it here first. Fremy under threat of just straight up death. He has his own hover coming out. He has Riptides mixed with Asylums, but it's not gonna matter as the destroyer torpedoes come in for Nexus, and he has turned this. Whoa! He's turned this 3v2 into a 2v1 in short order, as with that death, Box decides to control K. Where did Box die? He just died right here. Man! Either that or that was some kind of disconnect. Let's check the chat. He didn't say anything. Nice work, Feather. Slow and steady wins the race. Did they quit? Yeah, Francius doesn't know either. I don't think there was a disconnect screen. Box was being very rude, was he? What? Okay. Yeah, I don't see it. Well, we were talking about Herculean tasks and work being cut out for Nexus. I think Francius is now on a different order of magnitude with having work cut out for him. He has completely lost the southern pond, or I should say Fremy Speeddraw did that for him. And he is now having to handle the fact that air is not going his way, so torpedo bombers are going to be assisting Nexus, who is already doing so well, and now Nexus can stop producing frigates, not that it looks like he wants to, as once he has naval supremacy, there's not really much need for them, and now Francius sitting on slightly more eco than the enemy team, but not nearly enough eco to give him a huge advantage here. He's gonna immediately go for an Owassa, and that seems like a good play. At these high levels, the Owassa is an extremely powerful tool to be used. I think there was maybe an air fight, as I'm not seeing any ASF for Corvathra noob. Yeah, there was an air fight, and it went bad for Corvathra noob. It may have even fought over some cruisers, so that Owassa will be free. It will be free to go about its business and do as it pleases. Air production has been started up again, but all of the engineers in the area killed off by that explosion, so Box hurting his allies even moving forward into this game, or I should say ally, as Francius is alone against two high-rated players. Not that he is not a high-rated player himself, but when everything is even, two players have more APM than one, generally. And Francius is gonna try his damnedest to take on the behemoth that is Nexus right now. And Corvathra noob just going to sit back and try and regain air superiority, as seems he has lost that as of the latest moment. Owassa gonna finish up here in a few moments. And the northern naval fight continues to slog on. We have a lot of boats on each side. We have a lot of shells being fired. A ton of gunpowder being dispensed between the two. And I think Nexus is winning it, but not quickly, I should say. Plenty of time for things to turn around and go either way, but it does seem as though Nexus just has a slight edge as of the moment. He stopped producing frigates down here in the southern island, may even consider going T3 for one of those torrents. I don't know if high-level players are particularly big fans of the torrent, but I am, so I would encourage it. I think it could be useful here, help clean up even more of this economy, as Corvathra noob trying to set up his own land incursion over here, as well as Nexus, both of them dropping engineers to build a bunch of factories, but they're gonna be outdone by the absolutely massive wave of factories for Francius, just spamming out Zooies as the Owassa finishes, comes out, drops its second bomb onto this navy, getting 29 kills, and immediately jumping up to 10,000 mass killed. And is going to be able to wreak havoc over onto the forces of Nexus. Gonna kill off most of his navy in 2 bombs. And up here to the north, the naval fight still going well for Nexus. He's also producing his own Yinzines. Overall reclaim numbers as we watch this Owassa a bit more. Maybe even let's track it as we check the reclaim numbers. Currently looking at a lead for Corvathra noob at 29,000, Nexus at 17,000, and Francius at 15, and rising quickly. A bomb gonna fall out of this experimental bomber and bring him up to 82 kills and just destroy frontal base. There's nothing left but a few charred corpses of units. And here comes the Owassa. It's going for the main air grid. Is it going to be able to make it happen? Bomb falls, and that's going to be a disaster for Corvathra noob. Oh no, this Owassa getting way too much value, up to 43,000 mass killed, and it has been very, very important mass killed indeed. Going for the core mexes on all of the bases at the moment, is going to turn and try to maybe fire onto the base it just flew over, but there's a bunch of SAMs maybe dying here soon. 140 kills. Another bomb even over here will actually keep it alive, as Shade is saying, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me, in the chat. And now proves once more that SC2 player is better than FAF players. Is Francius a Supreme Commander 2 player? If so, I need to talk to Steel Speaks, because Steel Speaks is really gonna be happy to see this one. Maybe I should co-cast with him. Steel Speaks, I'm gonna link you this video and tell you when to come in. You wanna co-cast? You wanna join me for a cast of FAF? I know you've casted it once or twice. I'd be down. And I'll join you for a co-cast of Supreme Commander 2, even though I know nothing about that game. I mean, not nothing, I just don't know how the economy or most of the units work. As the Owassa flying over to this southern side, once again, that extra regeneration from 2 ranks of veterancy really coming in clutch. And it seems that Francius is just going to be able to shut down the efforts of both Nexus and Corvathra noob. With the air grid going down, I can't see him not just spamming out another Owassa and going to town. Nexus still fighting on these fronts, but he just is unable to get a decent answer to what's happening to him right now. XDDDD coming out from Shade only when already engaged. You told me to do it. The only thing you had to do was give me ASF. Sam's in caps. Give ASF, what the fuck? Kill. Are you kidding me? Why didn't you give? He goes Telly Shirley. Oh man, Nexus is a salty boy right now. Oh my lord, Nexus just control K's all of his base. Oh, salty boy, he is the Salt Nexus. Nexus, what are you doing, man? He almost killed himself by Oh, also, I had Lady Dimitrescu in my in my copyboard, in my clipboard. Think of that what you will. Oh man, Nexus, the Salt Lord of this game, control K's his entire base. Super BM in my opinion whenever you do this on a full share game, as of course it removes options for your allies to get back into the game. I am fine if you want to control K, if you want out of the game. But Nexus now just sitting here. He has 1 engineer to his name after nearly winning the game for his team. It seems as though control K-ing Frimmy speed draw was in fact a mistake, as it seems Francius is doing better than when his teammates were alive. And he has now won this northern pond. And he is showing no signs of slowing down. It's really looking as though the northern team is kind of out of it. And the air grid is going to be thrown right back up for Corvathra. He's going to keep trying. Nexus control K's the salty boy. Leaves the chat, probably disconnects from the game at this point. And that commander is going to go down. Yeah, I think that's a disconnect. Usually the control K thing will be delayed if they disconnect. So he just got out of the game. Think it was a little bit BM, as it's left Corvathra noob with, yet again, for the 100th time this cast, a Herculean task ahead of him. Francius is almost unassailable. He's won both pawns. He has set himself up for victory in this one. And Corvathra noob, he's gonna try and get back into the game. Air is almost or most likely, but almost really his only avenue for winning this game. He has to go for a snipe. He has to catch Francius off guard, because right now he is just going to be down on mass income. Not by much, mind you, but he's going to be down on mass income, and he is going to be struggling against the overwhelming unit mass before him. I mean, the man he's up against has 33,000 mass in Zooies alone. That is a lot of mass in Zooies. And currently, Corvathra noob, everything he owns is only worth a paltry 200,000 mass. Okay, well, he has like 1/8 of all of the units worth of mass that Corvathra noob has in Zooies alone, and I'm pretty sure that's not the most of his economy's going into. As an air fight breaks out, Francius just gonna win that pretty easily, but he is fighting near some SAMs, and these fights are getting closer and closer as time goes on. Corvathra not necessarily out of the game yet, but he is a stiff breeze away from death. It's just a very slow force that needs to mobilize for Francius to get in here. Maybe even build up a land experimental such as a chicken to make life easier, or drop over here to the east just to set up a lot of land spam to go in. Or even as simple as sniping Corvathra noob, who why are my icons not working? Is this because the replay is so old? I don't know. I played a game earlier and all of my mods stopped working for one reason or another. This one's working again. That's useful. This is the best game I ever had the pleasure to witness. Shade believing it's over. But we will have to wait and see. But since things are going very slowly, let's just go ahead and speed up to +5. I want to thank really quick shout out to the Duelist. Did give me a Ryzen 5700X, and now my games simulate so much faster. It really has helped so far with the entire replay review thing. Usually Seton's games with high rated players, I'm going down to -2, -3 just reviewing it, which means it takes over an hour to review the replay. Now it is no longer the case. I've tested a bunch of big replays to see how it handles it, and I've yet to see the machine drop to +0. It's always been at +1. So thank you for that, and I'm sure it will help with my workflow and editing. So everybody go over to the Duelist, give him a big thank you from me in his comment section, and make sure you're subscribed to him and to me, and leave a like on this video. As a large land incursion coming over here to the east, there's some land factories spammed up for Corvathra noob, but they're not long for this world as the Zooies and the Yinzines and Strikers start showing up. It's starting to look difficult, but broadswords are a good answer, and Corvathra noob going for maybe an air fight up against Francius very soon. He's going to be fighting over a few cruisers if he takes this, but he may not really have an option. Let's go ahead and check those ASF number. Francius sitting around 90, a few of them out of fuel. 123 for Corvathra. He has the air advantage now. That's the one shining hope for him at the moment. But with the land units incurring towards him, that's a lot of torp bombers. Does he know where the commander is? Here? Exactly here? Oh, yeah. He's found the commander of Francius, and he's going for a snipe. Francius should just see this. He does send ASF out to go try and capture those torpedo bombers before they reach his base. Just do epic micro shade. Do I have more air? No, just do. No, you do have more air, Corvathra noob. And Francius, I think, realizing that, falls back. He's trying to make sure he doesn't take a bad air trade, because that could just be the end of him. He's going to get on a transport and try and run away, but that may be more dangerous than just staying in the water or trying to get out of the water, as the ASF fly over towards the commander. Owassa on the ground may even eat some of this damage. Torpedo bombers coming in. First wave going to be heavily damaged. Francis in a difficult situation. He's going to eat some torpedoes here, but he's not necessarily going to go down. Gonna eat about 4,000 HP worth of torpedo damage there. The air fight breaks out. The torpedo bombers get a second pass. More torpedo bombers showing up. Only a couple gonna make it. But as long as they don't get shot down, Francis could be under threat of dying here. Needs to get out of the water. 8,000 HP. The air fight going seemingly well for Corvathra Noob. I think he's going to win the air fight, but he's run out of torpedo bombers critically. He has more being produced, but if some cruisers can just sit up here, it will stop them from flying through. As over here to the east, Francis has been pushing in, but his land units have all stopped. I wonder why that is. Needs to keep pushing. Francis, my comm can't move. His comm is stuck in a bug. Oh no, the air... Gonna be important. Owassa goes down to the ASF. There's really just T1AA here to stop this. But that's not gonna do too much. He does have to deal with the reinforcing units. More cruisers sent up to the south or the northwestern corner to stop this, but more torpedo bombers coming in. He also had all of these broadswords coming down now. They're leaving the base wide open. He's saying, you can take my base, but I'm gonna kill you before you do it. As in come the torpedo bombers. This first little wave may be shot down. More AA is being thrown up constantly. This snipe attempt is all Corvathra Noob has to his name. Advanced nano repair gonna be tried. It's gonna be canceled at 75%. Wonder what the reasoning behind that was, as Francis is going to run back into the water, believing he's safe. Maybe just trying to avoid the broadswords for now. But that's a lot of torpedo bombers that are gonna be able to make their way through. And they're now coming from multiple angles. The ASF out from Francis doing a noble job of stopping the torpedo bombers as best they can, but he just runs out of ASF yet again. More torpedo bombers coming in. Francis, he's winning the other side of the map. If he could maybe get to the commander in time, that could matter, but right now it's looking like he's gonna have to pull off a miracle. The broadsword stopping any AA from being thrown up. Advanced nano repair is his last ditch effort, trying to out-heal the torpedo bombers that do show up. 90 HP a second is already a lot, but he'll go up to over 200 with advanced nano repair. More torpedo bombers come in, he's going down, and he dies! And Corvathra Noob snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. Thank you all for watching, you've been so beautiful. If you liked it, please like. It helps out the channel a ton. If you want to support me further, there is the channel membership and Patreon, but do not feel obligated. The show has always been and will continue to be free. I don't pay gate any of my content. You all are beautiful. Thank you to the channel members and Patreons who make this channel so much more successful, and you all are beautiful. See you in the next one. This is Willow, signing off.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster.